So hello everyone, today we will be starting the chapter Human Endocrine System, which is the last chapter of class 11 biology. So coming to the definition of endocrine system, what is endocrine system? It is a system of ductless glands, means it consists of those glands which do not contain in duct that secretes chemicals called hormones in lymph or venous blood. So as it do not consist of any duct, so it cannot secrete its chemicals which is called as hormones to their duct. As it is ductless gland, therefore it secretes their chemicals directly to the either to the lymph, or that is on the lymphatic system, or to the venous blood, that is the blood which is present in veins. So coming to the definition, we will see that endocrine system is a system of ductless glands. That means that the glands do not contain any ducts, which secrete chemicals called hormones. Means those chemicals, means hormones are called as chemicals in lymph or blood vessels. Since it do not contain any duct, therefore it secrete in lymph or blood vessels. For what? For transport to target tissues or organs to initiate metabolic changes. Therefore it initiate metabolic changes. As we can see about the properties of hormones, that is, it is required in small amounts. So first of all, we can say that the endocrine system is not as prompt or fast as the nervous system, but the total endocrine system is through chemical integration that takes help of the hormone, and they are very they occur throughout a long period of time, but those changes are mostly permanent changes. Therefore they are required in small amounts. So the hormones are released from the glands in response to a particular stimulus. Those chemicals, we know that hormones are the chemicals, and those chemicals are non-nutrient, that is, do not contain any nutrient and highly specific in nature. That is, once suppose a gland secretes hormones for a target tissue or target organ called as, let it be, thyroid gland. So these hormones do not attack to the heart or liver or any other gland, say the spinal gland or pituitary gland. These hormones will only target or attack to the thyroid gland. So therefore it is very much or highly specific in nature. After that, we can consider that it consists of these endocrine glands consists of various glands, as well as many organs of our body take part in endocrine system. The various glands that take part in endocrine system are like hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, etc. And some of the organs that take part in endocrine system are like liver, kidney, heart, gastrointestinal tract, etc. So coming to the first gland, which is very important gland, and it is called as hypothalamus. It is considered, which is a very important point, is that it is the master of master endocrine gland. Why it is called so? Because it controls the other endocrine gland and also controls the entire endocrine system of our body. Means it is like a king in a village that controls the entire village, and the other endocrine glands which are present except hypothalamus are like minister and various officials of the king's dynasty, which will always take decision from the king and work according to it. So just like that, it is hypothalamus is also like that कि वो राजा है एकदम, or it is the master of master endocrine gland. Means it controls other endocrine gland, means it decides whether the other endocrine gland should release or hormones or not, and also it controls the, and as a result it controls the entire endocrine system. Now coming to hypothalamus, it consists of several group of neurosecretory cells called nuclei. These nuclei are not the nucleus, they are the neurosecretory cells that is present in neurosecretory cells. Means these cells that secrete, they are secretory, that means secrete some substances. What they secrete? They secrete hormones. Therefore contain several group of neurosecretory cells called as nuclei that produce hormones for regulating what is the function, wide spectrum of body function. Various body function and metabolic changes are also can happen through the endocrine system, and therefore it regulates the wide spectrum of body function, just like a king controls the entire village. Location where it is present. It is present in basal part of diencephalon of forebrain. Its location is very important. That is in our brain. That is one part called forebrain. In forebrain, diencephalon is present. It is present in basal part of the diencephalon. And about the connection, we can say it is connected to pituitary gland by infundibulum. Means connected generally, infundibulum is a structure through which the hypothalamus is connected to pituitary gland, and we also know that pituitary gland is present adjacent to the hypothalamus. Now this hypothalamus is connected to the anterior lobe of pituitary gland via hypophyseal portal vein. That is, this hypophyseal portal vein is present, and this hypothalamus is also considered as physiological and anatomical connection between endocrine system and nervous system, because hypothalamus is generally present in the brain, and brain generally major part for the nervous system of our body, and many functions are also performed by hypothalamus both in endocrine system. So it acts as a link or connection both physiologically as well as anatomically between endocrine system and nervous system. So as we know that hypothalamus secretes two type of hormones, either it is releasing hormone or it is inhibiting hormone. What is releasing hormone? If it secretes releasing hormone to a particular gland, it will order or stimulate that gland to secrete a particular hormone that it can secrete. This means, what I want to say is that, let's take the example of growth hormone releasing hormone. If hypothalamus secrete growth hormone releasing hormone, then it will attack the pituitary. As we know that generally growth hormone is secreted from pituitary gland. So when we will be saying that growth hormone releasing hormone or somatokinin, it will attack to the or act on pituitary gland of our body. So it will stimulate or it will order the pituitary gland to release growth hormone. So mainly the order is given by the hypothalamus through that growth hormone releasing hormone, and according to it pituitary gland is releasing that growth hormone. And this growth hormone it is secreted in a small amount but specific amount, and it will secreted in specific amount, and as a result there will be growth in our height also, or in muscular structure, etc. So coming to that, it secretes various releasing as well as inhibiting hormone. Coming to the first example, thyrotropin releasing hormone. It stimulates the TRH release, that is the thyroxine hormone release. Growth hormone releasing hormone or somatokinin. It stimulates growth hormone release, means it helps in releasing the growth hormone. Growth hormone inhibiting hormone or somatostatin, that it inhibits the growth hormone release, means it will order the pituitary gland to stop releasing growth hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone, means it generally acts on the gonad, and it will stimulate the gonad to release uh, hormones like FSH, like follicular stimulating hormone. Prolactin releasing hormone, that means stimulate release of prolactin. Prolactin inhibiting hormone, it means that it inhibits the release of prolactin. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, then melanocyte stimulating releasing hormone, that means these hormones stimulate the release of melanocyte stimulating hormone. Similarly, melanocyte stimulating inhibiting hormone, it means inhibit the release of melanocyte stimulating hormone. And the last one is adrenocorticotropic hormone releasing hormone, that means it will help in stimulating the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone. So it is the end of the lecture of our hypothalamus, and I covered most of the important points, some extra points also, and also the points from NCERT. And in the next lecture we will be talking about the pituitary gland. Thank you.